All right, I wanted to give a short demo of what DallE-3 is capable of today in early November 2023. It's pretty amazing. I've done about 35,000 images of Midjourney. Huge fan of Midjourney. Didn't really like DallE-2 that much, but didn't try it much. But this one, the more I do it, the better I like it. I just can't wait for the next Midjourney to come out. Okay, so can you draw this image? A grid of four tall, rickety, multi-level, chunky towers on a little island with strong weather, unusual lighting. Very clear illustration. We get this unbelievably rich, textured, beautiful, coherent image. Like the way that the lines go in the edges of this tower, the consistency all along this edge, compared to the diagonal rain flowing and the puffy clouds, super dense waves, like the realism of this slope here. It's just unbelievably great and amazing. The prompt is this. A detailed illustration of four multi-level. So the way this works is basically you give it the English like desire and it sort of figures out what you mean. And then if you allow it to, by default, it will extend the prompt to something sort of longer, more coherent, and send that to the DallE-3 client to actually generate the image. You can override this, but you don't have to. This is pretty cool. So then we do, okay, so then we say two more variations, cooler and distinct weather color theme. It makes this amazing winter version with like this weird, yellowish golden light coming from behind as if the sun is sort of hidden. There are beautiful white stars everywhere. These poles, like the sense of depth, the reflection of the water. The more I look at these images, the more I like it. These little things almost look like cabins. Like they're pieces of a sort of hexagonal, like tessellated cliff, but there's also bright yellow lights in there, kind of continuing the theme of the towers. Little Asian roof on there, made like a pagoda. What was the actual prompt? Yeah, it doesn't really. The great thing about it is it completely understands my typos. Like I said, ridge today or whatever, completely irrelevant here. Like it's fully human. It just knows what you mean. I've never really had it not do this. Something Midjourney cannot currently do. Here's one, like also unbelievable. Okay, but this time in a warm desert-like setting. Color tones, swirling sand, blazing sun. It's just unbelievable. Like it's so beautiful. Okay, now I say make two more varied towers. So this didn't come out too good, right? They're too varied. There's not much coherency. Like it still is pretty sweet down here, and like this is the sky effect is cool, but the horizontal like color shift from blue to purplish here, I don't read that as like too legitimate. It's still amazing, like the sort of fuzziness around here, the reflection of the tower, like the little mini reflection in that, like sort of spikiness with a little path going out. It's still amazing. It's just not as beautiful. And this one is really, really generic. It's probably fine for what it is, but it's just way too generic. Okay. Then I tried to do some thick black line divided color zones. It didn't come out very well. This is fine. Then I said, okay, now make it in more subtle colors and add close, I don't know what I meant, close human elements of anthropomorphization. So it added these windows and it made the windows subtly sort of face-like. Like here's a face. This is maybe a face, that's a face. This is sort of like eyes, nose, mouth. There's sort of a face here. The reflections are perfect, basically. Like, look at this. Yeah, so it did a good job there. Let's see how I describe that. Okay, each tower featuring human-like characteristics such as eyes, mouth, or hands. But it's so subtle, right? Like, it easily could have just made hands come out, but it didn't. Here's another one. Yeah, not so good. More simple. Okay, now I said super wonderful. Make the horizon look insanely distant so that the world looks really huge and distinct. So this is amazing. It's got this sort of romantic guy looking into the distance. These repeated lines of distance here make it feel like it really is like such an incredibly deep horizon and the world is so flat even though we're high up. The towers are not really the focus here. It's more like this spit of land and this jut of land. And I could just imagine the joy of like looking forward and constantly adjusting your predicted path as you walk along. And I think I could probably swim across here, get to that, and just see how far you can go, right? Before the infinite water begins. Okay. Wonderful, so good. Now go deeper and deeper and extend it in two totally different and even more extreme ways. So here it's added in, it's the naturalism. Like the difference between Midjourney is that Midjourney in general, while like amazingly artistic and wonderful, and I love it so much, it's not as good at making the relationship and zones between objects in an image. It typically, even if it's a 3D image, it looks kind of flattish. Whereas this like pretty clearly like this is farther away than here. Things are getting bigger here. You could easily walk down here, walk through this forest, see this tower, approach it, see which one you can get into. And also like the sort of meta, like the local drawing pattern, like the pattern of brushstrokes that you would use to draw each area is very, very, very distinct. Like when you're drawing this area, you're thinking, okay, the rules for line connecting is this and that. And then when you switch to this, okay, now we're doing a more puffy cloud, like clouds become dirt ridges here. And then, here's like the verticals, here's the trees. They're all related in that they could be done by the same artist, but they're all different and they're very, very separate and coherent. Even this like Eastern Ridge, right? Like it's like the lighted version of this. I just love this. This guy's infinitely deep. So good. This one, yeah. It's kind of good, but not nearly as good. Like this doesn't make sense, right? These planets. This is so cheesy. There's a little person there, but yeah, not good. So then I said, okay, still image. First image is wonderful. Two variants, slightly more vegetation, but a very detailed and super long prompt about the horizon. So you can actually tell it to make the prompt longer, which will get it to spend more time on it. So this one, it just so happens not to be as good. Like I can't tell what this is. Is this clouds or this is like not particularly good. Good try though. This one is actually cool because it looks more modern and like the palette of textures and colors is a lot more limited. So it has that feeling of abstractness. Like the silhouettes of these trees is so good. The fact that they suggest there's infinite of them, and then these beautiful cliffs here with like the in cliffs, like the drawings I used to make as a kid. This suggests a field of just waving horizontal cliffs over and over and over again. Very hard to traverse, unless you fly, in which case it would be easy. This tower is much more interesting than the others, so the others don't have a mound below them. So I would say this is a pretty successful image. Okay, now we go like this. Make there be three subtly different towers of different ages, although they're all ancient. Did it do it? Second tower is slightly more recent. You get the number of towers wrong. It's still like amazing. Like you could imagine walking up here and sort of kicking this yellow grass, grasshoppers hopping every step you take, just flying over the edge, locusts and stuff, and these trees struggling to survive. Up here, some dirt's accumulated and it's growing there. The towers are different. Like this is hexagonal, round, sort of squarish. The wearing pattern here is distinct and unique. These silhouettes, it's taken advantage of the chance to make these amazing silhouettes. Sort of left, right, left, right, left, right. Here's wonderful. Depth of the ocean, love it. Okay, then I say that's so good. Now do that, but retain or restore the insane long prompt, emphasizing hyper detailed horizon and image details. This is just like mind blowing. Right? This is insane. It's pretty abstract. Like I don't really know what these things are, but once you get onto the island, so fun. Just like get your picnic basket, sit there, find a place out of the wind, but you can still hear the wind. There's three towers. They clearly have different ages, right, and even different styles. I would guess this is old, this is new, and this is medium. Or maybe flip those two. Super deep horizon. It doesn't make sense. Like I don't know what it means, but I still like it. And this one is just the coup de grace. Like unbelievable. If you painted this painting and you showed up in the year 1960, like that's it. You're a professional artist. I mean, it's just completely beyond imagination how amazingly great this is. Love the like forced perspective waves, super rings here, infinitely deep horizon like a Jupiter. Very, very different textures. Like this is clean. There's a little, maybe that's a man in a robe. The sort of split here, but it's not like it's not artificially preserving like the left right split. There is a shadow line here, but this goes over on that side, this goes over on that side. So many doors, like you gotta wonder what's inside them. Look at the details. I want to zoom in. I want to go there. Oh my god. Okay, these are mega epic. You gotta compliment him when he does a good job. Make two more, keeping all the details in the prompt with very subtle vegetation, natural erosion, and tiny animal effects. Again, like great job. Birds, these sort of clouds full of shadows, with the sun is deep over there, reflecting up off this and down. Bottom of the clouds is well lit. I love this like dense water here, the ripples on a giant, I don't know if it's an ocean or a lake. It looks more like a lake. Walk out there, feet trampling on the water. The rocks looks like a little bird here. This looks like a kind of Nessie figure. And just traipsing your way up, left, right, find the way. oh, a little steep there, might have to climb a bit. I need this old rotten wooden door, the platform that somebody built at some point, the tree just hanging on beautifully, sticking over the edge here so that the light from the sunset penetrates through, the diverse types of plants which can survive in a situation like this where there's not enough dirt, the sort of like really dense and thoughtful patterning and the kerning here of the tower. This is similar. This sort of abandoned island, you know, maybe nobody's ever been there. You could live here for years and never get up there. There's not a place to dock. Just love this image. Love it. This one, even better. How much better can we get, guys? The glowing, dense bushes of life here. You know, you wonder, why are there all this type of plant on this on the lee side here, right? And then here's more sunny. Why do the plants choose to be in this specific spot? Is it just a variation of density and minerals in the soil, light, rain? Same wonderful thing here. The birds are too big, definitely. Maybe they were originally penguins, which are bigger. 3 levels of towers, a little castle, overgrown castle on the top. So it's more fantastical, and I think the scale is a little bit off in this one. The bird behavior seems a little bit weird. It's kind of got some film grain on the image. Still great. I think the distribution of these windows is weird. I just noticed this. The weeds are sort of growing into the side here. Maybe that's to symbolize like petrification between vegetation and stone. We're still getting really long prompts, which I love. And then this part's cool too, like the fact that he's put all these flowers over here and taken advantage of it to show that this sort of stems and how tall each one is. This little rock. Yeah, now I start doing different stuff. So I say make a list of 17 potential things that might be found in or around a tower. So because, you know, this is something that Midjourney can not do at all, right? Like this guy fully understands English and is in some ways much, much smarter and more knowledgeable than a human. Of course, in many ways not. But it makes up this random list. And then I say, okay, now do this 2 times. Take the power prompt, select 3 random things and stick them in there. So artistically, this is a failure, but I still think that this method, so I guess this is a library thing. I'm not sure if they said what it is, yeah. Okay, whispering vines that communicate ancient secrets. That's what this is. Medium in height from a lost era. How's the mystical library? Oh, so that's this mystical library. 3rd tower taller, magical clock that can manipulate time. I suppose that's this. So it's still not really getting the numbers right, but I love this sort of cobwebby foam, sea foam here, and the ocean rising up. You're really at the mercy of the gods if you sail a ship through here, let alone into the extreme foreground where you're not even in a realm of normal waves at all. The clouds, like some sort of, you know, apocalyptic sky image up here. Here's another one, like kind of similar problems. Is it the same? Yeah, middle tower pages never end. Yeah, oh, talking door. Okay, so it did do it different. So I guess this is the talking door. It's cool. Like, I think if I played with this more, we would get really good results. And I really love this zone here. Like, this is sandy steps with these sort of turf, it looks like, on the side edge there. Possibly a man standing there. So you boat your way over. The foreground's a little bit weird. You boat your way over, it's completely silent. Just the sound of the oars lashing at the waves, and suddenly scrape up on the sand, drag the boat up, look up at this crazy door, and then see these other portholes and this stairwell in the distance and think, can I go through there and wind my way up and go through here and wind my way up again? Oh, love it. Yeah, the background setting is kind of weird. And the foreground is kind of weird, but tons of potential. Okay, so then I was like, okay, just do more stuff, right? Make more random stuff, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't paying as much attention to these things. And text is not perfect, which kind of ruins it. But it also gives it a different flair. Like this is a page of a book that we found and are preserving from an unknown culture. Again, like the physicalism of this stairway and the fact that it's like forcing you to feel it's massive because these are just slightly indented every time. And this just slightly comes up to show that it's a circular thing if you were to view it from above. This one too, like the pleasure dome here, all overgrown. Go in. Looks so rickety, and you know, these don't look 3D at all. This is sort of like it's like a pre-perspective medieval drawing. This is kind of cool, like a Arabic gate. But overall, like not that good. This could be fun, but yeah, not good. Too blurred out, not enough detail. This foreground's interesting though. I didn't notice that before. This sort of island with grass. These are cool. These are more like Dungeons and Dragons adventure towers you could find. Okay, this is getting really good again. Look at this. It's like a cyclops. These birds are strewn across the skies, right? And then the natural towers here. These guys are kind of hiding a cyclops religious tower here. Octagonal with the waterfalls rushing over from some magical source that's overflowed its edges here. The steps being worn down, you're walking down and suddenly it's covered with algae. It's a slippery, slick step. And you realize you're just below your fate, or you're going down the spiral staircase and you come out and there's a lantern and you just come to the edge of the cliff like in the end of that Indiana Jones movie and look down and there's nothing below you. Except for maybe a rotted away bridge somewhere. Actually, it would be cool if there were bridges between these. I love this style of clouds with like the light and the shadow there. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, the tracery here, the differences in the patterns, the shadows and the light, so good, like very consistent lighting off from the right here. These clouds are slightly more lit than these, I would say, right? So that's good. Foreground, yeah, kind of like blowing sand. Foam, I should say. Okay, so these, okay, not so good. This one, again, amazing. Clock theme. I forced it to compress the prompt. So I keep saying like generate a prompt, then compress it with abbreviations. It's still kind of dull. Like you can't really see, it's a bit dimming. The sky's dimming. But I love this round tower. This, yeah, more sci-fi, like higher perspective. Right? I mean, the cool thing about this is my perspective is very low. Like I'm really looking up at these towers. But this one I'm looking down. So you feel more like you're a invader from space. This also is lacking a bunch of detail. This is kind of a cool style, but it's also really unreal. It's more like a dream style. So this is a fine image. It's a good planet here. It's a fine image, but it doesn't inspire like the just extreme curiosity about like physical exploration that this one does to me. You know, roll your boat in there and find there's a whole cave with magical lamps on the side and dripping stalactites and automatically refreshing spring and ropes that come out and gently pull and tie up your boat as you stop here on your journey and explore the tower that you belong to. Incredibly steep steps, you know, because you're an angelic being. It doesn't matter that they're barely possible to navigate. Okay. So here I force it to take all the words and rearrange them in alphabetical order, which is a weird prompt, and then put it here. So this is a nonsensical prompt, right? But actually, it doesn't do a bad job. More mystical junk. This one is okay. Dreamscape, definitely. Like, lost a lot of coherency, but not bad. More exploration, more... This is kind of okay. You know, I like the animals. Sort of Garden of Eden, like Babylonian hanging garden style image. Much higher res. This is funny. So I said, okay, imagine what my next prompt to you might be and print that out. And it thought I would ask for an image of a surreal cityscape with architecture inspired by musical instruments. How close did I get? Make an image. He didn't get close at all, right? I have no interest in this. I mean, it's fine, but not at all what I'm interested in. This is more like a SimCity thing. I mean, it's fine, but I don't. This is kind of good here. Okay. That's not exactly right. I focused on stark, majestic, super distant towers and horizons, natural changes or millennia, tiny creatures, mystical shapes, etc. Can you do that for me? This is not bad, right? This is more like Stephen King, The Wasteland, The Gunslinger, crossed with like Moab or Four Corners, natural arches, you know, Monument Valley. But the color's a little bit gray. You can't tell if it's like human made. I guess it's obviously like not natural, right? But it could be natural. I do like the extreme like variation scale, right? You have big ones and small ones, and they're all the same shape, like fractal type. This is just too swirly, right? Sun coming. That's kind of cool. Like looking down here, but I don't really know. It feels like I'm gonna fall into this hole. Like the water over there. Cross. So then I direct it to limit the number of towers, bring me back to, just 3. And this is quite a bit better, right? You can easily imagine walking along here, go over the flats with the mud and get in your kayak, the sun bursting through to light this part of the zone, these little towers. Rendezvous with Rama, exploration of a wild landscape. I feel like this is cool. In sci-fi and fantasy, there's always this circular architecture, like non-square architecture, but it's very hard to do because you just have so much wasted space between the circles. Pretty scary to think you're walking into like a spider's web zone building, though. Okay, make it have a list of more things, and that's it. So overall, GPT-4 is unbelievably, sorry, DALL-E 3 is so good. I would say the best image is probably this one or this first one, right? This one. Yeah, this is just the prow of the ship coming. Nothing on the horizon. You could easily have another one over here and even more distant over here to do like the Trinity and then the Trinity of Trinity behind. But yeah, try it out. It's like $20 a month. I blow out my rate limit every single day, and it's only gonna get better from here. C'est la vie. Bye, guys.